What's up guys, Nick here, and we're going to do a Studio One 4 review. We're going to see if it's worthwhile to upgrade for you. So let's dive right in and let's check out what some of the new features are and what they didn't add. So I think best is to start with what they didn't add. So first of all, none of the plugins were updated. There were no new plugins added to Studio One 4. So if you were hoping for something along those lines, I'm sorry to say all these plugins are exactly the same. But that's not bad. The plugins that come with Studio One 4 already are pretty good. So not a big loss. Console didn't really get too many updates. We have channel notes now, which we can actually write notes for each specific track. We can do that right in our console, which is pretty cool. Another thing that I like is that kind of readjusts and hides the I/O when you make this smaller, so that's kind of a nice little handy feature. Keeps the console nice and neat. In terms of recording and editing audio and like mixing, things like that, there's not too much that they added to improve that aspect. So if you don't really use Studio One to write like electronic style music using a lot of MIDI, a lot of the new stuff they added might not be worthwhile for you. So let's dive right in and let's check out a lot of the new features that they added. We'll start with one of my favorite things that they added, and that's the pattern editor. So we have this sequencer style MIDI editing mode now, which is super handy. We have different variations, so we can program in different parts, swap between them. Awesome. I love it. Great feature that they added. We have updated piano roll. This is some of the updates that they added are pretty nice, like note color, so we can change the notes based on velocity, pitch. We have drum editor view as well now. So, some nice updates. It really makes it easy to work with MIDI because it really kind of covers all the grounds now, depending on how you're comfortable editing MIDI. I know a lot of people, they like the drum editor mode for doing their drums, so, for guys who like doing that, they have that option. Guys that like to, do like the FL Studio style writing, we have that option. I personally really like these patterns that they added. Great feature. And for guys that are from Ableton, I think those guys will find working in Studio One 4 now very comfortable and much more intuitive, combined with the super great workflow that Studio One 4 provides. So let's keep going. Another thing that they updated was a couple of the instruments. So we got Impact XT and Sample One got some updates. You can see if this loads up. I might have deleted it. I'm just bringing it in. Yeah. So you can see definitely changed quite a bit. If you've used Sample One before, you can easily record your own samples using the gate record. Works really great. Like, let me show you for example. So you have to adjust these thresholds here. Once your audio signal goes above the red, it starts recording. Once it goes below the blue, it'll stop recording. So you can record and capture different samples. If you want to plug in a bass guitar and sample each note, you can do that super easily, super quickly, and then you can play it back, whenever you want, as it automatically maps it to the keyboard here as we're capturing samples. So that's a pretty cool feature. That's pretty handy to play around with. Impact XT got a pretty big update. I've been playing around with this quite a bit when I'm making my songs. I've been really enjoying it for doing percussion and adding effects and things like that. Like if you want to do like hi-hats on each side, it's so easy with Impact XT. You just bring in your samples into here, pan them wherever you want, and then just go nuts. And it integrates really well with the pattern editor. So like, let me show you here. When we go into the drum editor mode, where's the drum mode? You can see we have our sample names right here, and it's all automatically mapped. So really handy, really useful. That's why I've been using Impact XT a lot, just because it's so easy to see, what sample I'm playing. I don't have to map it on my own. It just does it all automatically for me. So really cool update to that. So Sample One and Impact XT are basically the two instruments that really got big updates. Presence XT had some small updates. I think like they added like choke and reverse playback. Aside from that, didn't really get any major updates. Some of the other cool stuff that they added was better control over humanization. So if we want to humanize this a little better, we humanize. You can see like the humanize. We have a lot more options here than before. Before we just kind of humanize it, and we didn't have any control over how drastic or how subtle the humanization would be. And now we can set it to just do velocity or the timing or both, which is pretty cool. And then we have we can set velocity here. So a lot of the MIDI related features got improved in Studio One 4. So that's really handy. A lot of the stuff that I was looking to see added into Studio One definitely got added. So I'm glad that this update came around. It's a good update for me. So another thing that I like that they added is when you have the piano roll up here and you play some chords. Right, it shows you what you're playing. So when you're making weird chords and stuff like that, you know exactly where you're playing. So very handy feature if you're not really great at playing the keyboard or you don't really know what the notes are. You get that information right in Studio One. And there's other plugins that will do that for you, which I was using Easy Keys before for that, and having that built right into Studio One, great. I love it. I think it's a really nice small addition that makes a big difference, at least to me. There's the import song data, which is pretty great. So we can take an existing song that we created in Studio One, and we can import any information we want from it. So that's pretty cool. And we can also work with other DAWs now. So we can actually save our project as an AAF file, which are compatible with like Pro Tools, Logic, Innuendo, Final Cut Pro, Premiere, and other stuff. So that's pretty cool. The interface has gotten some updates, but I mean that's going to be a personal thing. You're either going to like it or not. That's going to be a very personal thing. I personally don't mind the updates. I've been staring at version 3 for a while, so a little bit of a difference is kind of always welcome. The ripple edit mode, pretty handy that they added. There's the chord track that they added, which is super awesome. One of the big features that Studio One got. So you can automatically detect chords in samples, audio samples, MIDI files, things like that. And so let's do that here, detect that. Now what we can do is bring it up here into this. I guess it's just a C there, so nothing exciting there. Let's try a different one. Detect chords. So this one is yeah, that one has something more going on here. So let's get rid of that and let's bring this up here. So now you see we have a chord progression up here in the chord track, and we can set other audio tracks and other MIDI tracks to actually follow this chord progression. So that's what's called the harmonic editing in Studio One. So it'll retune your MIDI or your audio track to follow that chord progression. So it's super powerful, super handy feature for songwriting and just creating effects and whatever. We also have like the key here. We can add the key of our song. We can actually detect the key of the song using MIDI. You can't do it with an audio track, but you can do it with a MIDI track. So you could use Melodyne or something to pull all the MIDI notes from a track, use the detect key feature on those MIDI and see if you can get the key signature of your song, and boom. So definitely some cool additions that they added to work with audio and work with MIDI. And that's basically it. There wasn't anything drastic in terms of how to edit audio or the console or anything like that. A lot of the features that we added were very MIDI oriented. So for any guy or gal that is coming from FL Studio and Ableton, I think they're gonna really like using Studio One 4. So that's basically some of the new stuff in Studio One 4. One of the things that I wish they would update is the CPU performance of PreSonus Studio One 4. When you get a bunch of instruments going, it can bog down pretty quickly. If you compare it to other DAWs, like if you have a project in Ableton Live, you can have a lot of instruments going without any issue. You try to do the same thing in Studio One, and you'll find yourself having to balance your tracks down, commit them, and things like that, which is a little frustrating. I know they added the low latency mode not long ago, which definitely helps with recording. It's still buggy. My DAW crashes with low latency mode, so there's that. Those are basically my two big issues with Studio One 4 right now, is the CPU performance and the low latency mode being buggy. But other than that, I've been really enjoying it. The features that were added were definitely right up my alley. So I think now with the additions, version 4 has Studio One is a pretty great all-around DAW, while other DAWs kind of seem to specialize more. Studio One 4 seems to cover a lot of ground and does it well in almost every aspect. There are a few areas which could definitely be improved, but I feel like they've taken a lot of great features from other DAWs and they've implemented it very well into one complete package. So it covers a lot of ground. So if you're interested in something that's very intuitive to work with and makes things easy, makes your workflow go quicker, and you kind of enjoy doing a lot of different things, I think Studio One 4 is definitely the right DAW to pick up with some of the new features that they add in subsequent patches. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.